Did you see that? That was a butterfly.
What? A butterfly? No, it wasn't. It was a white rock. The mines where rich veins are thick with a translucent quartz.
It was a butterfly.
Enriquez believes that it's pretty much impossible to think that a butterfly could flutter down into the dark to more than 2,000 feet below the surface. But for the moment, he surrenders the argument.
You know what? You win. It was a butterfly.
Alex and Enriquez continue walking a few more meters, and then they hear a massive explosion. The ramp is collapsing directly behind them, near the spot where a rock, or a butterfly, could have passed before their very eyes.
La mina se está planchando! The mine is pancaking! We're going to die!
When the San Jose mine collapsed outside of Copiapo, Chile, on August 5th, 2010, it trapped 33 miners beneath thousands of feet of rock for a record-breaking 69 days. For the first 17 days, the miners were imprisoned by the fear of never being rescued, and slowly consumed by hunger, heat, and little light. In the refuge, an enclosed space about the size of a school classroom, occupied by the 33, Hector Tobar relates the horror, but stirring testament to the power of the human spirit and deep down dark. In the refuge, the men's confused silence is soon filled by Juan Carlos Aguilar, the supervisor for the contract mechanics crew, upon his return from exploring. We are trapped, and the only thing we can do is wait. The situation is not good, but there are things we can do to prepare. Number one, it's obvious we have to ration the food, eating as little as possible each day to make it stretch out as long as possible. The only question is how to do it. Juan Carlos leads a tally of what's inside the emergency cabinet. 1 can of peas, 1 can of peaches, 18 cans of tuna, 24 liters of condensed milk, 8 of which are spoiled, 93 packages of cookies, and a few expired medicines. The men will not die of dehydration, however, because there are still several thousand liters of industrial water in the big tanks nearby that's used to keep the engines cool. And though it's probably tainted with small amounts of oil, it will likely be drinkable. Juan Carlos counts the men. 31, 32, 33. There are 33 of us. La edad de Cristo. Mierda. The age of Christ. This has to mean something. On their third day, August 8th, Enriquez, known as the pastor, drops to his knees and tells the men they should also do so, because when you pray, you have to humble yourself before your Creator.
We are the best men. But Lord, have pity on us. Please, Lord, take charge of this. Oh, and God, I don't know how, but find a way to feed us.
The prayer became a daily ritual. And finally, at 7:15 p.m., August 8th, 78 hours after being trapped, Juan Carlos hears the sound of something spinning, grinding, and hammering against the rock. For 3 hours, it grows steadily louder. The rat-tat-tat, grind, rat-tat-tat, grind. At 10 p.m., everyone is ready to believe it. It's unmistakably a drill, the sound traveling through thousands of feet of rock. Or maybe not, because soon thereafter, it was followed by 12 hours of silence. Finally, it started back up again. The rat-a-tat-tat, grind, rat-a-tat-tat, grind. However, as the days progress, the men are feeling weaker now. The sense of physical degradation grows as the space around them fills with the water from the drills that are trying to reach them. Their skin hugs the bones of their faces. Their ribs all show, and when they walk, their legs tremble. The only sustenance for the men is water, because there's only enough now for half of a cookie every 48 hours. Half of a cookie. to linger on the tongue, like a communal wafer, to hold for as long as possible. Half of a cookie with approximately 20 calories and 2 grams of fat isn't enough to keep these men alive. On one of those nights, when the skipped meals and the distant drills eat away at his soul, Alex moans for several minutes about his imminent death as he's trying to sleep. I'm dying. I'm dying. Finally, the trickster in Mario Sepulveda kicks in after listening to Alex. He tosses his head back and forth in imitation of the dying Alex, mouth open to make a choking, gurgling sound, as if he were beginning to suffer his final starvation-induced seizure.
This is the end, Alex.
I'm dying. I'm going to tell my wife that... No, Penny, no, don't die! Mario opens his eyes and breaks into a wicked smile, followed by a few choice, vulgar Chilean idioms about foolish men. Who else would do such a thing? Who would mock one man's death lament? The same men who pray. On the following day to eat, Alex Vega steps forward. Can I speak? Alex is looking smaller and frailer and clearly more in need of a meal than most of them. Mario Sepulveda turns to Juan Carlos and whispers, "This guy is going to ask for more food. What do we do?" "I'll share a bit of my cookie with him. You another little bite. We'll see if there's anyone else in the refuge who wants to help out." But Alex isn't asking for more food. This thing is going to go on for a while. One drill has just missed us. It's possible the next one we hear coming will too. There's only a little food left. And I think that today we shouldn't eat. Let's not eat. Let's save it for tomorrow. That way, maybe we can last a day longer. Some of the men groan and shake their heads, but in the end, they do skip it. 3 days without anything but water. The men are deeply moved by Alex's willingness to sacrifice the skinniest man among them, putting the group's health beyond his own obvious needs. The rat-a-tat-tat, grind is getting louder. On their 17th night underground, the men hear another drill getting closer and closer. There it is again. The rat-a-tat-tat, grind, rat-a-tat-tat, grind. It's getting louder and louder, holding the promise of either the liberation or just another disappointment. Far below, there's a small explosion just up to the tunnel from the men in the refuge. Boom! Followed by the sound of rocks tumbling to the ground. Mario and Juan Carlos jump up and struggle towards the noise, Mario grabbing his 48mm wrench as he goes. They're the first to reach the spot, and Juan Carlos watches as the drill bit inside the pipe lowers and rises and lowers again. Mario has been waiting for days to put the wrench to use, and finally, he strikes against the exposed pipe with joy, in desperation, a repetitive clink that's meant to announce a human presence to the drill operator above. We're here! We're here! Soon, all 33 men have gathered around the exposed pipe. Objects that have intruded into their dark world with promise of raising them up to the world of light again. Jose Enriquez, who's been transformed underground into a shirtless and starving prophet, looks at the drill bit and pronounces the obvious to anyone who will listen. Dios existe. God exists.